We've just made our Kroll controller, and what we're going to do is turn the power on. So pretty much the first test is to turn the power on. Now this assumes that we have connected this, let's call it a zone control cable, and that contains connections to turn the call for heat on, so it behaves like a house thermostat, and it also just contains a couple of wires for monitoring. So there's 4 connection points, which we won't talk about in this video. Over here to the left is the test box, and we can look at all these displays to tell us if everything's working okay when we go through the motions of turning the switches off or on. So right now the toggle switch is off. I'm at that switch there is to simulate the thermostat in a BR burner gun being up to temperature or not up to temperature, so that simulates that thermostat. Okay, so we've turned the switch on and we haven't heard a bang, so that means we're not going too badly. I guess the first thing you'd look for is to check that the energy save neon works, so we'll just do that. That's in energy save mode. Check that neon works also. Okay, I guess the next place we can go to is to look at the front panel here, and in this video what we might just very quickly do is set the first set point on this to 80. So I'll just simulate that. And when you're done, you've got to remember to hit that or it won't make the change. That L1, by the way, that's going to be the set point that the burner turns off or on in the boiler, okay? So, and 80 is a pretty typical temperature. Okay, L2 in this controller we're going to use to be our kind of emergency or heat dump threshold, and we'll set it a couple of degrees higher than the set point of L1. So again, the second set point, we'd normally set it to about 81, 82, 83, something like that. It's going to work fine. All right, so right now that thing there is just checking the ambient temperature that its little sensor here is sensing, and what you might want to do is go grab some boiling water and dunk that in there, and that should read about 85, 90 plus if you drop that into boiling water. If you forget to wire this to the internal pins, it'll come up and tell you with some sort of error, ER, ERR, something like that. Okay, so we've done those basic checks. I guess the next basic check is over here on our test simulator, is that all the lights should be off in this condition. Just getting back here, another thing to remember, Pete, is that out 1 and out 2, what that's telling us is that set point 1's contacts are calling for heat. They're attempting to call for heat, should I say. The house isn't calling for heat, so that actually would not turn the burner gun on. Okay, so let's go back over here. All these lights should be off. That switch is off, so what we'll do is we'll simulate a house or a load calling for heat. So we shall turn that switch on. There's a few things happen. One is the call for heat LED. You've got to check that that comes on. That should come on. Over here, what this effectively does is it sends 240 volts down to the burner gun's heat rod. So it'll turn on the power on for the burner preheat, and it will also start the boiler primary pump or primary circulator. So you should see that thing there come on. So if I turn that off, you can see that effect. This is also a test. So when that's turned off, we've got a run-on timer at the far right here, and that will run on for the run-on time. And the idea of that is that when the house stops calling for heat, our pump runs on. Okay, it runs on. It keeps circulating for a while. And this one here just switched off after 5 seconds. Again, in the field, that'd be set to say 3 minutes or 5 minutes. All right, so that's the first test. So that's a couple of things we've done already. That LED, or neon, and that neon. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll assume, okay, the burner's nice and hot and we're now up to temperature. So you'll see that lead come on to indicate that the burner thermostat's come on, and don't know if you got that in the video, Pete, but I'll do it again. And I'll have to quickly power cycle that. Okay, so we're calling for heat and we turn that on, and the other timer there, which is our delay timer, again in the field we'd normally set that to 3 minutes. You've got to see that thing clicking on. At the end of that period, the pump will still be on, and at the end of that period the burner gun will start up. So this neon indicates that that T2 line that controls the burner gun will start. Okay, so they're all the major controls. Another thing to really check is that when you turn that off, the burner should keep running. So you can see that there. So that's got to stay on as our simulator here, you know, its thermostat kicks in and out as it's running and using oil, it'll turn off or on. Okay, so let's assume our burner gun's running, and even though we've kind of done this before, we'll check it again. We turn the house off, or that call for heat off, the neon over here turns off, and our run-on timer was kicking in there. So that's probably the major, that's probably one set of tests. The next set of tests is, I'll just turn the power off and we'll go to the side here and we'll go into non-energy save. And in non-energy save, 240 volts is just sent to the burner gun permanently. And if there's a call for heat, the gun will want to start up. So turn the switch on, energy save neon's off. If we go over here, we can see that the burner has the power set to the preheat. As soon as I turn the call for heat on in this mode, the burner gun will immediately want to start up. Bingo. The pump does the same sort of behaviour. It immediately comes on when the call for heat's on. Turn that off, the gun stops, and as before in the energy save mode, the pump will run on. Now, the only thing we really haven't tested is this funny secondary dump. This secondary dump neon, and there's a special, we'll go back to, we might turn that off just for fun, go back to energy save, turn the power back on. Now the energy dump, to test this feature, we might just go grab some boiling water. What we'll need is boiling water up to about 82. We'll take two, use the heat gun, it's quicker.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll just heat our sensor up to, to over 80 degrees, just to check the function of that overheat thing.
On the end, underneath.
Okay. And once we've done that, that's pretty much it. That'll be a good controller. Is my nose bleeding? No. Okay. Okay, so again, just a quick reminder, second set point, which manages the heat dump, that level is 82. Now we'll get this thing to switch on at about 84 because this has got a set point, or a hysteresis, sorry, of about 2 degrees. All right, so let's get the heat going here. Make me burn, baby, make me burn. And we'll try not to melt the sensor. Okay, so we're rapidly climbing to 58, 59, 60. We'll keep it coming. And Pete, you might as well switch over. I'll call the temperature. You watch the P-punt. There you go. So up at 84, the heat dump came on. And the other thing that might be worth mentioning here is that middle relay is the heat dump relay. And its job is to tell one of the zone pumps in the zone pump controller, if there is one, to turn on to get rid of the heat. Okay, and this overcomes a minor issue of, or should I say a minor design feature of the Kroll cast iron boilers of having residual heat inside of them. And again, that operates completely independently of the call for heat, so we might even just for fun check that before we finish up. So we'll increase our temperature again. There you go. Okay, so that's pretty much it.